Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about the Mate 20 Pro, one of my favorite phones of 2018, getting into 2019 at the end of the year. Huawei's been pushing out a lot of phones this year, and of all the different combinations and features that they've had, I feel like the Mate 20 Pro checks off a lot of the right boxes for us to be a true flagship with a brand new set of technology that very few other devices on the market have to date. This is TK, let's go ahead and check it out. Mate 20 Pro definitely carries a very unique look that makes it very easy to recognize. The camera arrangement that we have in the back here, we have a 40 megapixel sensor, just a high megapixel sensor right there. We have a 20 megapixel sensor that's basically a wide angle lens and gives us the ability of just fitting so much more in our images. And of course, that was the swap that we did with the P20 Pro where we had a monochrome lens at that point. Last but not least, we have an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and now that gives us the ability of going in not just 1 time zoom, 3 times zoom, of course optical, and then we go into 5 times zoom. That gets into the hybrid mode. Just gives you the ability of just getting closer to your subject without physically having to get closer. Last but not least, which may not be very obvious, is that we also have wireless charging behind the back here, and not only that, reverse wireless charging. So not only does this actually get charged from a wireless charger, but in case, let's say, a friend of yours that has wireless charging, let's say with, like a V20, V40 right here, you're able to actually charge them using your phone as long as you turn the feature on. Now that one's off by default, and we'll get into the UI and I'll share with you guys how to do that and turn it on and demo that for you guys. Next thing we need to look at, of course, is on the right side, we have a volume rocker and a power button that's accented with red coloring, so you can see it. It's very nice, very unique. On the top, we have an IR blaster for remote control configuration, of course, microphone, and then 2 of the antenna bands. The other side is pretty much just clean all down, and of course you can pretty much start seeing here is that the tapered edges right here, what we have here, essentially is the glass curves on the front and on the back, so you get that nice symmetry on both, and of course the nice cold metal feeling here on the sides. On the bottom is what we have the rest. We have another microphone, another one right here next to the SIM tray, and we have here a dual SIM tray or a SIM tray with a nano memory from Huawei. So it supports memory expansion, although it's only supporting memory technology that's basically developed by Huawei currently. So most of the time you're going to be running 2 SIMs, which is what I have right now. And we have, of course, this is actually a triple functioning port. This is going to be your audio connection, so you're going to be using the dongle that comes with this in the package to be able to listen to audio, using the cable to charge it and data sync it, but you're also going to be getting your audio from this. So this device supports stereo audio, and one of the ways they do that is that they use the bottom firing speaker is outside of the USB-C port. And the way they do this on the top here is that they use the top earpiece as the mids and highs, and the bottom one will be basically for the lows in. Now keep in mind, it does get muffled a little bit if you're charging the phone. It does not completely go dead. So if you're plugging a cable in here, it just drops a little bit on the sound. Overall though, it's still pretty good. Now, on the front, we have a few things. We have a 24 megapixel sensor with HDR support. We also obviously have the earpiece as well as the front firing speaker that complements the bottom one. And the last but not least, and I'll get into that little fingerprint sensor here, is we also have a 3D sensor that uses the 3D technology to be able to scan your face and unlock your device. And that's going to be much more secure than just standard face unlock, because standard face unlock uses a front-facing camera. This is using a 3D scan of your face. Now, this will be used to unlock your phone, but as well, there's an application that they just released, and that's basically the 3D scanner that they demoed at the launch event. Last but not least, of course, we have a 6.39 Quad HD display, AMOLED display, of course, and that's going to just give you really good, just massive, great quality images. And this image actually was taken with this phone around Halloween. We have a 4200 milliamp battery built in here, supported by a 40-watt charger. And I've done a couple videos on that, and I'll share with you guys a link for that in the description. The short answer is those speeds that you get from this device is just ridiculous. In about 30 minutes charge from dead, you can expect somewhere close to about 66 to 70% charge on this device. And that's a 4200 milliamp battery. So you're pretty much set for the rest of the day if you're on a quick charge and you want to get done and get out the door. So this is the Mate 20 Pro running EMUI 9.0 on top of Android 9.0, and I've received a few updates on this device. Now it is basically the LYA L29 model, European model. There's a few variants going around, and there is versions of it that go up to 8 gigs of RAM as well as even higher storage capabilities. So depending on what you're looking for, you should be able to find the right combo. Powering this device is the Kirin 980, Huawei's first 7nm architecture chipset. Now this has a 3 configuration for the octa-core processor. We have 2 high-powered, 2 medium, and 4 low cores. So the configuration of the CPU will be really good to be able to not only save you power, but also give you the power that you need whenever you want to basically do intensive things on this device. We have 6 gigs of RAM with an 8 gig variant that's also available on the market. 128 gigs of internal storage. Again, expandable with the nano memory from Huawei if you want to use the dual SIM as a SIM card and a memory card, but no other supported card, so no SD card, sadly. It's a 3120 by 1440 display with an October 1st security patch update. The other thing you may have noticed, of course, is that I'm running a custom launcher. You don't have to use the standard EMUI one, although from my understanding is that the Chinese version may have a launcher lock, meaning if you go under apps and then you go under default apps, in the Chinese model, you won't be able to basically change the launcher. So this will be defaulted to Nova Home, or sorry, the Huawei Home, and you won't be able to switch over, even if you install a secondary launcher. So just keep in mind whichever variant you pick up. Now, I've done a detailed walkthrough of this entire UI, and I'll link to that for you guys in the description, just showing you guys all the different tabs, different options that we have here. And as I mentioned to you guys, the reverse wireless charging. Under the battery, we have the option of turning on darker interface colors. That's what gives us the ability of turning on this theme-like option. Now, of course, you can install separate themes and customize your device that way. There's that one, and of course there is wireless reverse charging. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, this device does it reversely. So right now, if I don't do anything and I put this phone on top of it, this is not going to start charging. This is the LG V40. It does support wireless charging. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Now, the reason why this is off by default, because it's technically emitting and it's on and ready all the time. So it will drain your battery if you're not using it. And right there, you can see that it starts charging. Again, a great way to top off a friend. Let's say you're out and about and their batteries are running low, your device can definitely share. It's not by any means the fastest, but it will definitely give them enough juice to be able to get them to, obviously, a charger to get them up and running. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys about the cameras. That's one of the biggest features that we have on the Mate 20 Pro. The back cameras are obviously going to be fantastic. The front camera does support HDR, which is really something new, and very few devices have that. And what that means is, historically, Huawei and even Honor devices have had some challenges with exposure as far as the front-facing camera whenever you're taking pictures. The Mate 20 Pro actually solves that by adding HDR functionality, and this is actually different than AI mode, which was what we've seen in some other devices that they've released. Now, on the back, we have a very powerful array of cameras that's capable of going all the way to 4K at 30 frames per second. And of course, the master AI that's supported by the dual NPU built into the Kirin 980 will definitely give us the ability of just getting really good images as far as dual exposures. So when you're taking pictures with this, you're going to be able to not only expose for the foreground, but expose for the background at the same time, giving you much better images. So here's a quick sample of the image right now. It looks really beautiful. The colors just pop, and it does, of course, that portrait mode. This was another picture I took of my son there, and again, just gives you the ability of just allowing the subject to just pop. As I showed you guys at the beginning when we were looking at the phone, this image was taken directly with this phone, and you could see that even though we have a blurred background, it's still exposed correctly for both the foreground and the background. Fingerprint sensor works great always, as well as the fact that obviously the 3D unlock works great. This one's just him not happy there. And of course, this was just us sitting in at the Eaton Canyon here, close to where we live. Of course, we can't do any of this stuff without talking about sound. Here's a quick sample of an audio playback of an NCS song Alex Scrindo called Jumbo. Definitely sounds great. And of course, forgot to mention to you guys, we do also have Dolby Atmos configuration here, and I have it set into smart mode where it'll be able to basically pick out whatever scene I'm actually doing, if I'm watching a movie or listening to music, and it will get optimized. So the audio quality on this is going to be really nice, and you're also going to be able to enjoy it just watching and listening to music. Basically went to Beijing with this phone, and I used this to travel there. I was using a dual SIM with Project Fi, and this experience was obviously phenomenal. Running dual SIMs in here was very easy. I switched to my Fi SIM as soon as I landed in Beijing. And the reason why I wanted to share with you guys is because I was trying to test out the camera on this device. This actually was extremely dark that night, and I did use the night mode functionality. So you could see exactly how it illuminates the entire subject, and it just almost does magic. Definitely one of the best cameras I've seen before. Now, of course, we went to the Forbidden City, and what I wanted to share with you guys is a really cool image I got at the end when we actually Weird enough, when we were leaving, I got a really good image. And this is where I was able to use the wide angle lens on this. So you'll notice right there, I'm fitting so much more. And of course, you get so much detail here. The reflection in the water, the sky, everything just looks so amazing. With this image, you can pretty much see how the exposure was done very nice. The HDR exposure was very good. It recognized that I have trees in the foreground and the sky in the background. So it gave me that blue coloring very nice, and it just made it very good. And the detail level, you could pretty much see how well all around, very nice. Again, this is just pretty much ready to go on any kind of social media account that you have, and it will look amazing. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned to you guys that the 3D sensor kind of did a double duty here. One of them was obviously the ability of unlocking our phone, but the other one was the ability of scanning 3D objects. So 3D Live Maker was demoed on stage, and it was something where they was able to basically scan a panda or a type of a toy, plush toy, and animate it and put it on the table and make it live. Now, I tried my best to scan different things. I don't have a panda. But this is essentially a little tiger plush toy that my son had, and I was able to scan it. Overall, I got a better experience than what I got with the first one. The first one I scanned was a cat, and it just did not, I mean, it kind of looks like a cat here when you look at it on this angle, but for the most part, that wasn't really as good. And with practice, you can get it better. As you can see right there, I got much better setup here, and it was able to at least recognize that it looks kind of like a tiger. You can see that. We'll go with the panda. And then we'll go ahead in AR mode. And again, for the most part, it's trying to emulate a person's body. So you can see, you can move, and you can basically make the panda walk, and you can basically just make it do different things. You can even do running, and you can do a run and jump. Sorry, you can see you could do different things with it. And of course, you can turn on the camera with it. So you can turn on AR. And it says point to a flat surface. So you could see, so that's that's the camera back there. But essentially here, the panda can actually just walk, do the same thing that you were doing before, and just enjoy it, and just basically add it into the environment and take a picture with it. The Mate 20 Pro is definitely a powerhouse of a device. At the end of 2018, Huawei definitely released a very strong contender. Not only has all of the flagship specs that you can expect out of it, dual NPU, massive battery that recharges almost 70% in about 30 minutes, that's ridiculous. And of course, the ability to basically be almost future-proof with the fact that we have a massive sensor in the back that just gives us great clarity for not only video, but also photography. And it is just amazing in night shots. So if you've ever wanted to take really good night shot pictures, Pixel devices do it well. This one was the OG. They started this, and they've of course still doing it, and they do it very well. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Mate 20 Pro? Have you considered picking it up, or are you guys considering the Mate 20X, as that is a big device, but it definitely has a lot of cool things going on for it. Like and subscribe as usual. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? And if you are new to the channel, welcome, and thank you for joining the team. I'll see you guys in the next video.